Deontay Johnson said that he hopes Mason Rudolph gets the job. Do you worry about a competition situation potentially dividing the room or the team?
I do not. I think competition is good. I think it brings out the best in all of us.
Are you trying to bring someone else in, whether that be draft or elsewhere?
Again, we've got a lot of decisions regarding free agency. Mason is scheduled to be a free agent, and so I'd be speculating about some of those things.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are coming off yet another fairly mediocre season, which has sort of become the norm the last several years for the franchise. I made a video just before the 2023 season began and made the point that second-year quarterback Kenny Pickett was going to be the biggest X factor in how good the Steelers were, and now after another disappointing campaign, the organization looks about ready to move on. Now, Pickett doesn't deserve all the blame for his lack of production, as his offensive line hasn't been a great unit during his tenure. His offensive coordinator for most of his career has been Matt Canada, who is definitely not good, but he's also not absolved from all criticism, because at the end of the day, he's only got 13 passing touchdowns in 2 seasons, and that's simply not going to cut it. You combine that with all the resources the Steelers front office has spent to surround him with talent, and it makes the clock tick a little bit faster for him to show some sort of promise. So if Pittsburgh is ready to replace their 2022 first-round pick, the question becomes who could be some potential options to take over the job. Do the Steelers scavenge the free agent market and go after a veteran quarterback like Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson? Could they make a flashy trade and acquire Justin Fields from the Chicago Bears? Or could they even bring back Mason Rudolph and hold a quarterback competition? I believe all those options should be on the table, but according to an article courtesy of CBS Sports, the Steelers don't seem to be considering trading for or spending a premium on another quarterback this offseason. Team reporter Gary Dulock said the team is committed to giving Pickett a 3rd season to see if he's the guy to do more than just win a playoff game, but there's also a faction of the Steelers organization that believes Rudolph should, quote, be the starter after the way he finished, guiding the team to 3 straight victories en route to the playoffs. And me personally, I don't think either of those options are going to get the Steelers to where they want to be in 2024. I mentioned the plethora of offensive talent the Steelers front office has brought in the past couple of off seasons, and it would be a shame for it to basically all be wasted for yet another season. Starting with their backfield of Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, they both really came on towards the end of the season and really emerged as one of the best two-headed monsters in all of football. They combined for over 1,800 rush yards and 500 receiving yards, and are both still in the primes of their careers. And then on the outside, a duo at wide receiver with George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. I know Pickens can be a little bit difficult to deal with at times, but Mike Tomlin had him under control in key moments last season, and it's evident he's one of the most talented wide receivers in the league if he gets the opportunities. While Johnson, on the other hand, missed several games, but still flashed his former Pro Bowl self with his tremendous route running. You go to tight end, and there's Pat Freiermuth and 2023 3rd-round pick Darnell Washington. Freiermuth has gotten the short end of the stick oftentimes due to how much talent is on this offense, but I still believe he's a viable red zone weapon, and Darnell Washington has already emerged as one of the best blocking tight ends in the sport. So when you look at what Kenny Pickett has been surrounded with, it's not hard to want to see another quarterback get the chance to work with this weaponry. But the first step for the Steelers this offseason before addressing the quarterback position was finally getting a new offensive coordinator that has a track record of some sort of success. I obviously mentioned Matt Canada, and I still can't believe he lasted 2.5 years. I remember Steelers fans and media heads calling for him to be fired after year 1, but he was eventually let go of his duties this past November, and Mike Tomlin promoted quarterbacks coach Mike Sullivan and running backs coach Eddie Faulkner to co-offensive coordinators, and the offense did get better. They relied more on the run and had a bit more creativity with their play design, and once they finally stopped playing Mitch Trubisky, the offense reached respectable levels, but still, both of them do not have a ton of experience designing game plans and calling plays, and with such a pivotal year on the horizon, Mike Tomlin elected to get a seasoned offensive mind. He interviewed former Panthers offensive coordinator Thomas Brown, Rams quarterback coach Zach Robinson, former Arizona Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury, but ultimately decided on former Atlanta Falcons head coach Arthur Smith, and I believe that was a great hire. And I know on the NFL TikTok streets and NFL Twitter, it's very popular to find people making fun of Arthur Smith, and look, to an extent, I get it. He didn't utilize all of his weaponry as much as he should have, and that's an undeniable statement, but there is a difference between running an offense and running the entire team. Some people are just better served to be a coordinator than the lead man, and I think Arthur Smith is one of those people. I think he often worried too much about overusing some of his star players or becoming too predictable, and he outsmarted himself. But also his quarterbacks were washed Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota, and Desmond Ridder. Like, come on guys, let's get the dude a little bit of slack. I mean, what he did in Tennessee with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill was pretty spectacular, bringing them to the 10th best scoring offense in the league with 25.1 points per game, and a lot of people forget the success he had for 2 seasons there. The type of system he runs also fits the skill set of the Steelers' weaponry very nicely. It's very run heavy with a lot of RPOs and play action, and Pittsburgh has always been known as a physical downhill running team, but the past few years they've kind of gotten away from that, and he's going to bring that philosophy back to the offense. And regardless if Kenny Pickett or some other veteran quarterback is running this system, their job will be a lot easier with the offense more focused on the running game and taking advantage of defenses down the field when they stack the box. And my evidence for that is in the 2 years Smith was the coordinator in Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill, who is a decent quarterback but nothing special, had by far the 2 best seasons of his career, posting 200 plus passer ratings and making a Pro Bowl in 2020. Tannehill force-fed Derrick Henry, and when defenses tried to take that away, he hit AJ Brown for bombs down the field. Arthur Smith obviously won't have those 2 studs in Pittsburgh, but Najee and Warren with Pickens and Johnson is more than enough to replicate what he did in Nashville. And hey, if Smith wants to get his old quarterback Ryan Tannehill to come with him, he's going to have the opportunity to do so. Tannehill now at 35 and really getting benched for rookies the last 2 seasons isn't the same player we saw 3 to 4 years ago, but he fits the mold on what the Steelers are reportedly interested in, a cheap veteran who can provide some competition for Kenny Pickett. He knows the system, he's comfortable working with Arthur Smith, but I would not be surprised to see Tannehill end up on the Steelers in some sort of capacity this offseason. But in my opinion, I believe the position needs to be addressed a bit more than that. There's 2 options I'm considering if I'm the Steelers, and I'm making one of them happen. I'm sorry, but in the year 2024, you just can't be comfortable with Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, or Ryan Tannehill being your week 1 starter. That means you undoubtedly entered the season with the worst quarterback in the division, not a top 10 quarterback in the conference. How can you expect to make serious noise in the postseason with that play at quarterback? Sure, Mike Tomlin's voodoo magic will get the team to 9+ wins, and the defense with multiple All-Pros and TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Cameron Hayward will always keep you competitive. I mean, just last season they were ranked as the 7th best scoring defense in the league. But without a guy with at least the talent to go toe-to-toe with some of the top guys, it's going to be another first-round exit as the ceiling for this team. So the Steelers have to go out and get Kirk Cousins or trade for Justin Fields. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They have to if they want any sort of chance to go on a run next year. Kirk Cousins will be expensive, probably running you around $80 to $100 million, and currently with negative cap space, it's going to be hard to muster up the money to pay Cousins. It'll take multiple restructures and probably some controversial cuts, but if they really want to get it done, I believe they can. And Justin Fields, he's the more exciting option to me. Still on his rookie contract, he won't count as much against the cap, but the Steelers will likely have to fork over a 2nd or 3rd round pick to acquire him. And before some of you guys go in the comments and call me some biased Fields truther, I'm actually not a huge fan of Fields, and I actually think he has a very long way to go as a passer. But as I stated earlier with Arthur Smith's offense, his job won't necessarily be that hard. A lot of design quarterback runs, play actions, RPOs, very rarely have to sit back in the pocket, scan the field, and actually do a normal drop back. And then you also get the whole running element with Fields and his ability to extend plays, and that provides an entirely different element to this offense that they haven't had in recent years. So although he might not be as polished as Lamar or as good as Burrow, he'll at least give you a fighting chance with some of his playmaking skills. So either of those options is really the route I would go in, but if that report from Jerry Dulac is legit, the Steelers will be bringing a knife to a gunfight and wasting yet another season due to the quarterback position. But I want to know what you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their quarterback situation. Do you think Kenny Pickett deserves another season with a new offensive coordinator, or do you think they should bring in one of the top quarterbacks on the market this free agency? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But subscribe to the channel if you are new, drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next one.